just a huge thank you and a little bit of an acknowledgement for what all of you must be going through at the moment. I know I've got a 13-month-old, but she's in nursery every day, so I'm not trying to juggle the demands of working and childcare at the same time, and I'm sure lots of you are doing that. So I just want to take a moment to acknowledge the huge task, that you're confronted with every day, and just to say, I really acknowledge that. It must be hugely challenging to try and balance all the different responsibilities, and a big thank you for your continued support and your energy and enthusiasm, making sure that the students are logging in every day and engaging with their live lessons. Obviously, I've always said that the success of Lambeth Academy and the students will only come from us all working together. So students, parents, teachers, all being on the same page and all moving in the same direction to give your children as much support as possible. So in terms of that support, at the moment, what it looks like with the new remote learning, the situation that we find ourselves in is we have, I'm sure Mr. Martin can correct me if I'm wrong, I believe we've given out around 300 Chromebooks so far. We've given out multiple Wi-Fi dongles. We continue to be open to students that are not able to access learning from home, or vulnerable students, or children of key workers. So it's just worth mentioning that, if for whatever reason it is a real struggle for your child to be working at home, there is an opportunity for them to come into school. So don't hesitate to get in touch if that's the case. We are providing food support for those of our families who are struggling, because we know these are really, really challenging times, for so many reasons and for so many families. And we have provided a list of useful mental health websites and resources which can be accessed on the website. So yeah, do get in touch if there's any other support that you feel like you need. Everything we can to make sure, obviously there's a lot that's out of our control, but anything that we can control, we want to make sure that we do give you that support. So a big thank you to those of you who completed the United Learning Parents Survey in November. And I know, the parents that I'm speaking to tonight are really engaged and, really keen to learn more about how you can support your children with their schooling. So I really appreciate that. I am in the process of writing a report on those results to make sure that I've really made the most of that feedback. And I'm going to be posting out to you some You Said We Did feedback, so you can know how I've taken on board some of the points that were raised and the actions that I'm going to be taking moving forward to address all of those points. So really another thank you here. This is just showing you the levels of engagement across all the live lessons for all year groups in the school. What I'm particularly proud of is that lots of schools are judging attendance by 2 points during the day, and if the child's logged on at those 2 points in the day, they get 100% attendance. Whereas what we're doing is we're tracking attendance at every lesson. So if, for example, you see 90%, that means that 90% of students or 90% of lessons have been attended, rather than just students have logged on, at various points during the day. So we're really, really proud of that. You can see sort of sixth form and year 8 engagement being the highest. Year 11, obviously, I think they're feeling really anxious. Some of them, we've got a slightly lower engagement rate, but all of this week the SLT have been conducting the sixth form interviews. It's been a really nice opportunity just to have a chat to the year 11, see how they're feeling, trying to allay some of their fears about how they're going to be examined and how the grades are going to be given out. Obviously, as soon as Ofqual make an announcement on that, we will be formulating our own plan within Lambeth Academy, and we'll be communicating that to parents and students as soon as we have any solid information to give them. So obviously we talk about this journey of climbing the mountain to university over the 7 years that the students are with us. I'm delighted to give you an update on one of our students, one of our year 13 students, Tawab Abdul, who has just been offered a place to read medicine at Homerton College in the University of Cambridge. We're exceptionally proud of him. he's obviously delighted. And some other great news in terms of university offers and UCAS. We've already at this point received 54 offers from Russell Group universities. Those are held between 32 of our students. This time last year, we only had 30 Russell Group offers held by 20 of our students. Marion is holding 4 Russell Group offers, so that's King's, Leeds, Nottingham and Sheffield, to study philosophy, ethics and religion. Really interesting, and sometimes a misconception in parents and the wider community that, you know, students can't go on to study at the best universities in the country if they take a BTEC pathway. That's not the case at all. We've got 12 BTEC students who are sitting on Russell Group offers. We keep reiterating this point that actually it's the quality of the grade that's important. So it's choosing the path that's most appropriate for your child. If that's A levels, great. If that's BTEC, great. Both of those routes can lead to university. But what the worst thing that could happen is you put the student on the wrong pathway, they're not successful, and that's what holds them back from university. It's not actually what path they're on. So we've got 10 offers from Queen Mary University. That seems to be a really popular one with our students. It's a great university. It's obviously quite close to home. And this includes 6 business BTEC students. And some other notable offers so far, we've got Imperial for physics, UCL for engineering, Manchester for biochemistry, Birmingham for law, Liverpool for psychology, Leeds for accounting and finance, Newcastle for Chinese and Japanese studies, King's for nursing, and Exeter for exercise and sports science. So I've been speaking to some of these students this week. They're absolutely delighted, you know, that they're able to go and pursue these courses at these really prestigious institutions. So what that means, so this was taken from the World University Rankings. This is the top 7 universities in the UK. It's the world rankings that you can see in blue. And we have already secured offers from 5 of the top 7 universities in the country, which we're absolutely delighted with, and we hope shows that our sixth form is moving in the right direction. Now, I shared with the Year 11s in their assembly this Monday that actually Tawab, who has received the offer to study at Cambridge, returned from Dunraven in Year 12 after 1 month because he said the following things about his teachers at Lambeth Academy. He felt they were better at delivering direct instruction and explaining things. He believed they're more committed to each student. Obviously, we're a smaller sixth form at Lambeth, so we can give that really personalised care. You know, he really believes the students care about their teachers. They'll go the extra mile to help him achieve the best grades. And he knew he was going to get lots of support with admissions to try and get into the best university. So I guess at the moment, this might feel the most relevant to Year 11 parents who are thinking about what to do, how to support their students in making choices about Year 12. But, you know, hopefully all of you will one day have children that are looking to join us in sixth form. So here are just a few examples of the way that we prepared Tawab for his Cambridge interviews. So he had access to model personal statements. The SLT ran a special medicine interview preparation programme. You can see that in one of the pictures on the left. We team up with other United Learning private schools, and we get free access to their Oxbridge programme, which has a wealth of really great support. We pay for extra tuition for the students to have tuition for the entrance exams for some of the top universities. We were able to access one-to-one mock interviews with doctors working in the field, and we do visits to Oxbridge universities for the students to get a sense of what it's like. So we like to think we played a very small part in Tawab's successful offer from Cambridge, but obviously, of course, he was the one that did most of the hard work. So I want to now just finish with a bit of feedback from all of you, and thank you very much. I had about 100 parents fill in my most recent survey on remote learning. Now, obviously, you know, I'm never going to be able to at all times, you know, keep everyone totally happy. That's always going to be my aim, and I always welcome feedback, both positive and any constructive criticism, because I really do feel like all feedback is good feedback, and it really makes me question what I'm doing and make sure I've really thought about everything from lots of different perspectives. So I really do appreciate that feedback. In terms of some of the things parents have said that's going well, Some of the common themes were around use of Microsoft Forms in lessons, so students being able to submit work that then they could get teacher feedback on. So that was one aspect of lessons that people seemed to like. The delivery of Chromebooks, so lots of students have come in and collected Chromebooks, and we've also done home deliveries for some students. So there should be no student in the school that is struggling to access their live lessons because of technology issues. If this is the case for your child, then please get in touch. We can have a laptop ready within a couple of days. We have those available, so please just let me know. I spoke to 1 Year 11 today, and he said he was struggling because his laptop was a bit old, you know, and I said to him, he's now emailed me and we're going to have a laptop ready for him within the next few days. So in terms of the live lessons, parents are pleased with the fact that their children are having lots of contact with teachers and opportunities for students to ask questions. So I know one of the complaints about lockdown 1, when we were doing the asynchronous learning with sort of voice over PowerPoints and students working independently, was that sometimes they'd email their teacher with a question and it would take a while, you know, maybe up to a week for the teacher to get back to them, you know, because obviously there's a lot of students, there's a lot of questions, you know, and bearing in mind most students would have up to 10 questions in a lesson. You know, parents are saying it's much better that the students can just ask the questions then and there and move the learning forward immediately. So I've had a lot of comments about live lessons providing great structure and keeping the students engaged throughout the day. You know, I know obviously that goes in hand in hand with a lot of concerns about screen time and about a bit of monotony around the fact that with a live lesson you are slightly limited in what you can do. So I do appreciate that it isn't ideal and it's not the experience we'd want to be giving your children, but we're obviously trying to make the best of a challenging situation. We've had a lot of praise around the detailed explanations from teachers, and obviously with the lessons being live and not pre-recorded, the teacher's able to go back. If a child comments that they didn't understand a certain part or they want more explanation, then that is possible in the live lessons, much more than in the asynchronous work that was happening in the first lockdown. Lots of parents have said they're pleased that we've kept our standards and expectations high around homework. I will come on to talk about homework again in our even better if situation, because I think where we've gone wrong is around the communication of homework and detention. So I'll come on to that shortly. And lastly, the live lessons, and people like how teachers make sure that students are actively participating in the lessons through things like cold calling, you know, so that students can't just log on and then kind of walk away from their computer. So it looks like that they're in the lessons, but actually they're not. So those are some of the main themes around things that are going well. And lastly, communication between home and school. So people have appreciated updates when the technology's gone wrong. People have commented that we've been quite quick to respond to things going wrong. So there has been some good communication, I hope, between home and school. However, always room for improvement. So in the vein of improvement, some of the themes that I've taken away, the broader themes around things we need to be doing better. The first is around technical issues. So obviously lots of comments around where students have lost sound, or, you know, the team is not showing up for that lesson. What I would say is we've had extensive meetings with our wonderful IT department who are working flat out at the moment. And, you know, obviously with the whole world migrating to Teams at the moment, you know, there are some issues with Teams that are totally out of our control. We do believe it's the best platform to be using, but I guess I just ask for your patience in those instances. Get in touch with us and we'll work out whether it's something that we can fix or whether it's something that is just out of our control, and we can ask our IT department to try and find a workaround. So in terms of detentions, my thoughts around homework is that, you know, we do still want students to be doing homework because we don't want them to get behind. We still want to make sure that they come back to us in the same place academically that they would if they had been in the classrooms and physically in school. Where I think we've not done a good job, and I apologise for this, is communication around the detentions. So my idea was that when we get back to school, we would run a report to look at the number of students that had not submitted a certain amount of homeworks. Now, obviously, I totally understand that with all the demands at the moment, you know, in the screen time and the technical issues, there are going to be times either through teacher error or through technical error that a student misses a homework deadline. And I'm certainly not intending to sanction students who've been through a really tough time for missing 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 homeworks over this period. That's not what we're about at all. However, we do want to obviously hold students to account who have completely not engaged with any of their homework, and not because we enjoy sanctioning children, but simply because they will be behind if they've not completed any of their homework. So the plan would be for those students who've really not engaged with homework, we will offer catch-up sessions, you know, whether you call them detentions or compulsory catch-up sessions, you know, to make sure that there are not these big gaps in their learning. I have asked Mr. Lines, who's the Vice Principal in charge of behaviour, to put together a letter to send out to all parents next week to explain that in a bit more detail. And again, I will be taking questions after this, and I'm very happy to discuss this further. So in terms of screen time and more breaks incorporated into the day, I mean, everybody has an opinion on this. I go backwards and forwards with what I think. We've tried to stick to our original timetable so that the students don't miss out on any learning. I know there are many valid concerns about screen time. I know for a lot of our children, if we reduce the length of the lessons, you know, they would use their breaks on their mobile phones, on their computer games, you know, watching television, etc. So we're trying to, I guess, help them to manage their time and to make sure the screen time is used really productively. I know there's lots of research out there to say that screen time is damaging. You know, it's a really tricky balance to find. You know, I want to make sure that our students still have access to the best possible education. I want them to realise their aspirations at university with apprenticeships and beyond. And I want to make sure that I can say with all integrity that I've done everything I can to kind of maintain the flow of their education and to make sure that they're not being put at a disadvantage when they come. You know, GCSEs and A-levels are a competition. They are literally being assessed against their peers across the country. And I want to make sure that they're able to compete, you know, to make sure that they can achieve the grades that they absolutely deserve. Again, I'm very happy to take questions about that and hear your feedback later. So more praise. So yes, I think we've not done a good enough job of praising and recognising success for our students in lockdown. So as of next week, we're starting a few new schemes to address this. We're asking every teacher to give award 3 to 5 merits in the lesson. We're going to have a Twitter Learner of the Day, where each day a different year group can nominate a student that's really going the extra mile, and we're going to praise them on Twitter. We're also going to have a rewards assembly in 2 weeks, where we give out awards and prizes and really celebrate those students who've been fantastic. And we've also now just introduced a centralised postcard system. So now all a teacher has to do is type into a shared spreadsheet, and then that automatically produces a postcard which can be sent home. And also we'll be sending postcards home to any student that has 100% attendance in any given week. And these postcards accumulate, and if children collect 10 postcards in any academic year, they get a golden postcard from me, and then we go on a special trip. Obviously we can't do that at the moment, but we'll do it as soon as we are able to. So thank you, that was really helpful feedback. So I've been asked about parents' evenings and how parents can find out more about how their child is doing. I've actually got a call booked in for tomorrow afternoon with a head teacher of a school, another United Learning school, who's found a brilliant way on Teams to schedule in parents' evenings really effectively. So as soon as I've learned a little bit more about that, you can expect more information about parents' evenings for your children, because obviously we know it's really important that we communicate with you as regularly as possible. In terms of welfare check-ins, by the end of next week, every child in the school should have received a phone call from their form tutor that's got nothing to do with homework, nothing to do with attendance. It's literally to check in and see how they're finding the remote learning experience and to see if there's any more that we can do to support your child. We really want to show them how much we care. I apologise that it's taken until the end of the 4th or 5th week for us to be talking about this. On reflection, really, we should have done those in the 2nd week back, but I've definitely learned from that, and moving forward we'll be looking at doing that more regularly. And in terms of mental health support, I'm going to be talking to staff tomorrow morning about an opportunity we've got next Friday for the students to have a bit more of a fun and special day with lots of activities away from the screen, just to give them a little bit of balance and a bit of reward after all of the hard work that they've been putting in. So thanks so much for listening to that.